Folks, if you've been listening to the show, you know, like every one of you out there, I am obsessed with the new season of The Traitors on Peacock. This expands on how good the first season was and makes it so much better. And we have somebody that unfortunately these traitors made perish in last week's episode. It was undeserved. He is our sweet Bergerlicious, not my Bergerlicious. He is here today with us. Carsten Bergersen, welcome to the show.
Let's go. What is up, guys?
Just so everybody knows, we were introduced to you on a season of Love Island last year. And I don't know if everybody's seen that, but that's how they got you on this show, correct?
Yeah. So I finished filming Love Island and I was still in Fiji and they asked me like, hey, would you like to go to Scotland in like 20 days and film another TV show? And I was like, hell yeah. I don't have a job right now, so I got nothing else going on. Let me go to Scotland for like not a month or something.
I think we know as an audience why they chose you, but why do you think that they were like, we need you on this season of The Traitors?
I think I'm just so different from everybody else. I'm not the gamer. I'm not the strategist. I'm not like a housewife. I'm like
You're Bergie.
Lover boy. Yeah, and I'm like a lovable character that everybody loves. Nobody wants to see anything bad happen to, and it's just like, it's a different kind of person on a TV show like this.
Now, you're from South Dakota, correct?
I'm from Minnesota. I went to school in South Dakota.
South Dakota. Okay. And is it true that you used to manage a Dairy Queen?
Yes, I used to. When I was going through college, 5 years, I managed the Dairy Queen to help pay for school.
By the way, I think the true winner of The Traitors should be somebody from Dairy Queen. I think that is one of the true things that you need to be a faithful. A lot of the questions that I have, I told my audience you were coming on, and I got such an insane response on my Patreon about you, just how much they love you. They wish that you were still there. But a lot of questions like, and I know you probably answered this before, if Phaedra had come to you and said, I need you to be a traitor to stay in the game, would you have done it?
100%. If I got the ultimatum and saw Phaedra, like that's the difference though. If I got a letter, like when Peter got it, I don't know if I would have accepted it. But if I went down into the dungeon where Kate is now and I saw Phaedra unhood herself, I'd be like, let's do this thing. Let's kill everybody to the end.
Bergie, yes. I thought you would say no, I will remain a faithful throughout. I mean, that's huge news.
Yeah. Well, unless I was given the letter at the same time Peter was. But after the sacrifice ceremony, and let's say I somehow miraculously survived that, after everybody just kind of chose not to save me, I'd be like, you know what? You guys can all get murdered too.
Okay, the main question everybody wants to know, this is a very deep question. Do you really sleep with a teddy bear?
All the time. I got 3 teddy bears on my bed right now. I got Grogu, the pillow pet. I've got Vincent Valentine, and then I have TC, the pillow pet.
That's amazing. Okay, good. We need to add to the collection. I feel like people are going to be sending you teddy bears now every chance they get.
I would actually love that, and then I'd probably like donate them to like charity. That's a good idea now that I think about it. Like have a teddy bear drive.
Yes. Well, you know what? Save one for me. I want to put it in my reality show museum. I think it is. Right. It needs to be there. Okay. So your experience of doing this, you were coming off of Love Island. You have to go to Fiji all of a sudden. That's got to be really weird on the brain. You're 24 years old at the time, going into a situation that all of a sudden you're a reality star, and they place you with all of these like hardcore reality stars that have been in the business for like a decade plus. Some of these people. What was the vibe going into this thing? Like, was it just completely intimidating?
Yeah, it was overwhelming. It was just like, I show up and I see all these people. I'm like, I've seen some of you guys on a TV or like Parvati, like they say they were like on TV until like 2007. I was like, I was in first grade when you were on Survivor. I'm sure and like my family watches Survivor. Like we do Thursday night Survivor. And I'm like, I'm probably seen you on my TV, but I was so young, I don't remember it. If that's just crazy to me. And like to be with all these people. And I'm like, why did I win this like lottery ticket to go to this castle and be a part of this? Like that was the question.
I'm so glad you got the golden ticket because you added so much to this show. I mean, really, I think that is like, you just have this innate goodness that radiates. And that's why I thought it would be funny for you to eventually be a traitor to see how you would actually even attempt that because you seem so true hearted.
Yeah. I thought it would have been a perfect, like if Alan tapped me on the shoulder, like, I would have been a struggle for me, but at the same time, I would have been like, okay, I can survive this because nobody's going to expect it.
Oh, I know that's another thing. So getting in there, obviously you had a close friendship with Peter. I mean, that was true, right? Like, and then somebody wrote, who was the most difficult faithful to deal with, and why was it Kevin?
I was just gonna say Kevin. How do they know it was Kevin? Oh, okay. So Kevin wasn't hard to deal with. He was just all over the place. So it was just like, I don't know if you're a traitor or not, because like you're so inconsistent with all these theories. And he would just, you'd tell him something and then he'd throw out another theory to add on to your theory. And you're like, no, I don't think that's why that would be that way. And it was just, he was all over the place. And it was just like hard to figure out where he was coming from.
Are you watching this back the same time we are every week? Are you watching on Thursday nights, and or are you staying away from watching it?
No, I've been watching every Thursday night. I've been getting together with my family and we just watch it every Thursday.
What are the biggest shocks like upon watching it? Like what for you? Like, oh my God, I didn't even realize that. I didn't even see that.
The whole poisoning scene with Ekin-Su. Mind blowing. Mind blowing that even happened. I thought the Traitors met in the turret and they just signed on their death warrant or a poison warrant. Like, we would like to poison this player, and they signed it. Because if you remember the year before, they did something like, I don't know what it was called, but they put 3 people on trial.
Yeah.
And then they were going to murder one of them. So I thought it was like a twist like that. So they just decided we're going to poison this player tomorrow in front of everybody. So I was so shocked to find out it was an actual thing that someone was given and drank out of, and not like a food, like that just was mind blowing to me.
Now, being there live in person, I'm sure your mind's going in 30 different directions, but Dan Gheesling, who was the first traitor to actually be caught by the Faithfuls, was it, it read very obviously to me that Dan was a traitor, just how he was playing the game. In person, were there still questions in your mind if Dan was a traitor or not?
So, going in, I kind of knew who Dan was. I knew, like, his funeral scene, like a legendary Big Brother play. So I was like, okay, I'm playing with Dan Gheesling. And if I was, someone who could select the traitors, I'd definitely pick a Big Brother player and a Survivor player and maybe a housewife to spin the pot a little bit, stir the pot. And so I was just thinking that the whole time. So my eyes were immediately glued to Dan and Janelle. I was like, it has to be one of them. And then Janelle wasn't calling out Dan. So I was like, it's got to be, maybe they're working together. Maybe Dan or Janelle recruited the other one. So that was going on in my head too. So I was just immediately glued to them. And if you remember in episode 3, I started the roundtable by saying, Dan, I've been hearing your name a lot. Would you like to lay it out there? And so then he does. And then Deontay Wilder goes, no, he's not a traitor. I'm like, I'm not arguing with Deontay Wilder. I am so scared. And then, he starts calling out Max. I was like, yeah, Max sounds pretty good right now.
Wait, why is Phaedra so dang good at this game?
I think she just played a great social game. I think that's more important. I feel like Dan and Parvati played this game like traitors. And if you're a traitor, you need to play it like a faithful. So it was just like they were playing their roles, and you need to play the opposite role. You need to play a faithful. And that was something I was nervous about going in. Like, I know, like, from the beginning, I'm a nervous, awkward kind of guy until I get settled in. And I think it kind of shows in this show as well. And then by episode 4, I'm getting into my groove. Or episode 3, I was like the graveyard challenge. But Dan and where was I going with that?
No, you're talking about Phaedra being so good at this game, the social game.
Phaedra being so good. Yeah, so she was just social with everybody, and like they throw out a name here, but not like oversell it.
So you never suspected Phaedra. I mean, it was Parvati and Dan.
It was Parvati and Dan. And what didn't help Parvati too, I always kind of go back to like the funeral scene. Like, she's had to step into a coffin. And I'm a fan of reality TV. And I think, like, okay, I'm at home watching this right now, and there's no way they're not putting a traitor into a coffin right now. You know? Like, I want to, like, as a viewer, I want to see a traitor act like a faithful and like try to maybe make themselves cry. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so scared to be murdered right now. So immediately I was thinking it's either MJ or Parvati. I'm like, there's no way it could be MJ. So Parvati immediately became like my number one suspect, but I didn't want to speak out about it because I didn't want to get murdered either. And if I don't have the votes.
Yeah, I mean, how funny was it looking back at Mercedes scene, like spying on you guys coming in with the jeans? Wasn't that, I mean, just hysterical. So good.
It's so funny. Yeah, because I just remember her walking in. I don't get to see her like preparing to walk in. I see her come in, and then Peter's like, give us a second. So
Yeah, I know. Well, looking back, is there a way you would have played this differently to stay in the game longer? Did you hitch your, did you hitch up to Peter too much, do you think?
well, yeah, like that's what got me out of this game. But at the same time, I just kind of wanted to prove my point, or not prove my point. I wanted to prove to myself I could play a reality TV show super well. And the problem with that is like the best way to play Traitors is stay under the radar as long as possible. Hope you don't get murdered. Hope you don't get banished. And my thing was I wanted to try to get Traitors out to the best of my ability. Show I can't be manipulated. And I say that a lot in Traitors. I just wanted to show that point and prove it to myself. And the thing was, if the best way to play it for me would have been like just stay under the radar, be everybody's friend, and then I make it to like, let's say I make it to this episode, and then tonight I randomly get killed. I would be so mad at myself that I didn't play a better game or like try to do something before I got killed. So I'm actually okay that I got killed this way, if that makes sense, because I was playing the game instead of just randomly getting murdered one night. And then it's like, I could have done something, but I chose not to try to make it to the end.
A couple more things before we have to let you go. I know you met your girlfriend on Love Island, I believe. But did you see any romance happening between CT and Phaedra? That's the word on the street is that like, yeah, I lit a torch. I lit a torch. Did you see anything happen?
I missed it. I can't believe I missed it. I'm watching it back for the first time. I'm like, how did I miss all this like showmance going on? And I'm like, unbelieved by it because I did interviews before the show with CT and Phaedra, and CT would always hint like, yeah, it was like doing a love show mixed with murder mystery Among Us. He was always saying this. And I'm like, what love show were you on? And now I'm watching it back and I'm like, that was the love show.
CT was saying I'm in a love show. You didn't know what was it. And then did you ever see Trishelle's notebook? She keeps referring to her notebook and I want to see this thing.
Oh, so I have actually, you know what? I have my notebook right here.
Oh my God. I gotta get a picture. I gotta get a picture of you. Hold up your notebook. This is history right here.
So here, I'll wait. Let's see here.
Oh my gosh, this is amazing. I love it. Now you're like looking through your journal. Dear diary.
So I'm just trying to get like what here. So let's see. Can you see all that? So like,
yep. That's amazing
for people. Yeah. Did you get a picture?
Yeah, I did. Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah. So we all got journals. So when we go back up into our rooms at the castle, in our rooms, everybody got a notebook so they could take notes about everything. So what I did with mine, I would write down everything that I thought was important that night. I'd write everything down that I heard. And then I'd put people in the tiers. I had my faithful. There's only like 4 people in it. It was myself, guaranteed faithful, John, Peter, and Trishelle. Then I had my likable category. So if you were in my likable category, I wouldn't banish you. I had my suspect category, who I thought like were suspects. So if someone mentioned their name at the round table, I'd be completely okay banishing them. And then I had my traitors category. I'm like, I'm coming after you.
And I think at this point you might be able to convince Kevin that he's a traitor. I think if you were like, he's like, maybe I am a traitor. Like I think we could convince Kevin he's an actual traitor.
If I made it to the fire pit, I probably would have banished Kevin just because.
Okay, I gotta let you go here, but you are confirming that you did sleep in the castle. A lot of people wanted to know that if you actually slept in the castle, and you were saying yes.
Yes, I slept in like there was nights where Peter and I would be so tired we sleep in like the breakfast room. Just lay out the breakfast room. You
don't want to be captured by the traitors. And finally, as we wrap up here, are you excited for the reunion? And what are you the most nervous about going into the reunion about? Anything?
I don't think I have anything to be nervous about in the reunion. I'm more excited just to see everybody again and see what goes down. There's definitely going to be some salty people about some things.
Oh God. Anyways, I could go on with you another hour. Hopefully you'll come on the show again. I only had limited time with you, but I want to thank you so much. This show moves us. It is the best show ever, folks. I've tried to get as many of you to watch it as possible. Carsten Bergersen, I am going to be so sad to not see you on my screen this Thursday, but I can't wait to see you at the reunion and I can't wait to see what you do next. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes. Thank you so much.